Hello everyone. This is the 27th part of the story, Marvel Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Chapter 175, Potential. At the moment, Bruce had several abilities which could be upgraded. But Bruce didn't know which ability to upgrade. Because except for body and shield as one, which was useful for him, upgrading other abilities all needed a large amount of energy value. Therefore, it was important for Bruce to choose an upgrade. And his new ability named the Source of God's Power was still defective. So he had to complement this ability. But downloading this ability even cost 100,000 energy value. Then the amount of energy needed to complement this ability would not be too small. Thinking of this, Bruce took his attention to the ability of dark magic energy. With this ability, he could continuously absorb the power from the dark dimension. And the function of the ability and the source of God's power complemented each other. More importantly, both of these abilities would be the most important ability in Bruce's battle in the future. And with two abilities, in the future when Bruce fought again, he would not have the problem of no physical and energy after a period of fighting. Because one of them was to absorb the power from the universe, and the other was to absorb the power from the dark world. Therefore, Bruce did not hesitate to directly choose to upgrade the dark magic energy. System, upgrade dark magic energy. After Bruce made the decision, he issued an order directly. And after the order was issued, the voice of the system came out. Beep, this upgrade requires 6,000 energy values. Yes or no? It needed 6,000 energy values to upgrade an ability. When Bruce heard the hint of the system, he was surprised. He knew that this ability was strong and it would be his one fundamental ability in the future. But he did not expect that upgrading this ability would cost so much energy. Because when he upgraded psychokinesis and spider telepathy, these two abilities only cost 4,000 energy value. But this ability needed 6,000 energy value alone. It could be said to be very terrifying. But Bruce did not hesitate and chose to upgrade it directly. Now he had to strengthen his ability as soon as possible. Because, he thought that he could no longer contact a stronger superhero for a long time in the future. More importantly, nobody knew when the new task would come, maybe there was no new task anymore. If there was no task, it would be difficult for him to obtain more energy. Therefore, even if he met a powerful figure, he would not be able to download their abilities. So he must upgrade. And he had to work hard to improve his strength before Thanos came. After Bruce chose yes, an inexplicable power swarmed into his body. At this moment, Bruce seemed to have entered the dark space in an instant. And there were various strange lights and power everywhere. This force was surrounding his body and was constantly rushing towards him. Bruce knew that this was the dark power. If he was an ordinary person, this dark energy could completely swallow him. But Bruce was not afraid. He let these forces swarm into his body freely. He became more powerful, both his life and perception, or his body, all of which had undergone tremendous changes. After a long time, Bruce exited the dark space. At this moment, Bruce's strength had been greatly enhanced again. Beep, congratulations to host for upgrading successfully. Beep, congratulations to the host for acquiring new abilities, the Source of Darkness. After hearing the voice of the system, Bruce's face appeared a bit shocked. The Source of Darkness? Just hearing the name of the ability, Bruce already knew the effect. This ability was almost exactly the same as the Source of God's Power that he downloaded from Doctor Strange. They were both able to continuously provide almost infinite power for him. It was only that the way of absorbing power and the absence of their power were different. But when the two were integrated, it was equivalent to Bruce having the strength of the real world and the dark dimension at the same time. This was an extremely horrible thing. More importantly, the dark power could also be awakened again after the upgrade. And the dark source after being awakened was just Dormammu's dark power. This ability was a powerful source of Dormammu. The reason why Dormammu was almost invincible in the dark dimension was because he had this dark power. As long as he had the dark power, he would almost be able to absorb the power from the dark dimension all the time. Finally, he could completely engulf the dark dimension and became the ruler of the dark dimension. Yes, the reason why Dormammu dominated the dark dimension was just because of his dark power. Therefore, if Bruce had awakened the dark power, then he would have the ability to dominate the dark dimension. At that time, Bruce, who was able to completely replace Dormammu, became the ruler of the dark dimension. What kind of concept was this? Dormammu had the power which reached the god level, close to the power of the universe level. It also meant that as long as he had enough energy value, Bruce's strength could be quickly upgraded to the single universe level. That was why Bruce was so excited. Although the power of the dark source now seemed not to be powerful, it was absolutely terrifying as long as it was awakened. With such a power, he was able to confront Thanos with infinity gems. This was an incredibly terrifying ability. But unfortunately, the current system had not yet activated the function of awakening. According to Bruce's estimate, he might be able to activate the function of awakening only after he opened the plot of Avengers Alliance 3. When he thought of it, he was very excited. No matter which ability it was on him, it could become extremely powerful as long as it was awakened. Like Captain Marvel, why was she so powerful? It was just because of awakening, she had achieved the 2-star status. There was also Thor, and his abilities were also awakened, reaching the same level as Odin. Because the awakening of abilities could completely release their infinite potential. But whether it was Captain Marvel or Thor, they only awakened their own abilities. Bruce, on the other hand, could awaken every ability in him. Therefore, if one day, all of Bruce's abilities were awakened, then his power would reach the single universe level, and it could even reach the multiverse level. This was the benefit of awakening. And it was almost an improvement of 10 or 100 times. Chapter 176, God Level. But for those superheroes, awakening their power was very difficult. Just like Thor, his power was awakened because of his father Odin's death. More importantly, not every superhero could awaken power. Therefore, for the awakening function of the system, although Bruce was very looking forward to it, he was not in a hurry. After all, as the saying went, eat hot tofu slowly. He had always been very patient. After upgrading the dark source, what Bruce needed to do next was to complement and upgrade the source of God power. This was an ability that he took 100,000 energy values to acquire, so he did not want such a powerful ability to be incomplete all the time. Whereafter, Bruce did not hesitate to choose to complement and upgrade it. System, complement and upgrade the source of God power. Beep, the upgrade requires 10,000 energy values, yes or no. 10,000 energy values. And, what Bruce had now was only 20,000 energy value, so he would only have 10,000 energy value after he used it to upgrade the ability. Before, he had 130,000 energy value after he completed the task of defeating Dormammu. But within just a few days, he almost had used them up. However, he was gratified that his abilities and strength had been improved significantly during this period. Well, I'll continue to upgrade. Then Bruce directly chose yes. After all, downloading the source of the God power took 100,000 energy values. Therefore, it was very cost-effective to take 10,000 energy value to complement it. After Bruce clicked yes, a mysterious power began to swarm into his body. The source of the God power could make his power almost limitless. Therefore, owning this ability meant that Bruce did not need to worry about the lack of lasting force. Especially in the group battle, even if there were tens of thousands of enemies, which would not cause any harm to Bruce. Because by the source of God power, he could continuously obtain energy. And in Bruce's memory, no superhero could do that. The source of God power and the dark power were undoubtedly powerful. Although these were two distinct forces, Bruce's body was too strong enough to accommodate such two abilities. Therefore, this was why Bruce dared to integrate two forces into his body. After Bruce chose to complement and upgrade, the forces constantly swarm into his body. 2 hours later, these forces completely disappeared. This also meant that his ability was completely complemented. Beep, congratulations to the host for complementing the ability. The sound of the system came, which made Bruce's mind clear. He had been strengthening his own abilities during this night. And it was only one night, his strength had been greatly improved. This was a very happy result, because it made Bruce have enough confidence to deal with Thanos. Then what he needed to do next was to stop Thanos from gathering 6 infinite gems. Because if Thanos did not gather 6 infinite gems, Bruce could completely suppress him. Then Bruce directly opened his own panel and looked at the change of his own attributes. Name, Bruce Lite. Identity, Level 6 Agent. Ability, War God Body, God's Bloodline, Godly Fighting Ability, Control of Thunder and Lightning, Divine Power, Acer's Strength, Magic Ball, Body Blur, High-Speed Movement, Spider Telepathy, Body and Shield as One, Dark Magic Energy, Superhuman Telekinesis, Source of God's Power. Warehouse, Super Vibranium Shield, Mark Armor, Ant-Man's Battle Suit, Infinite Edition. Balance, 200 WUSD. Energy value, 1 W points. As expected, his abilities had changed again. At the moment, each of his abilities could be said to be very practical. Except some particularly powerful abilities. And Bruce had also prepared to integrate other abilities. But he did not have too many abilities which belonged to the same attributes, so he had to put them aside for a moment. Then the Thor who came back to the Earth and Thanos who would appear in the Earth. Both of them were Bruce's downloading objects. But Bruce was hesitant that if he had stopped Thanos, then Captain Marvel would not come back to the Earth. She was called the most powerful superhero in the Marvel world. And maybe Bruce could not see her in the future. Of course, Bruce was only interested in Captain Marvel's abilities. As for the other, Bruce did not care. At the moment, his abilities were very powerful, which could be said to be pseudo-god level. As long as he upgraded and synthesized his abilities once more, he would be able to enter the god level. After he reached the god level, it would be the universe level. This was Bruce's target, because by then, he had the true self-protection power. It seemed that the present Bruce was very strong, but in fact it was not. Although he was in a movie universe, Bruce was very clear that in this movie universe, the highest existence one above all would definitely appear in the future. It was said that it transcended all of existence and could be said to be a representative of the Marvel world's supreme power. In the comics, every time the universe went to an unmanageable position, this high representative would choose to restart the universe. His strength was too strong. Even Bruce was not sure whether he was affected by his power. If it was, then what he had done was in vain. Since Bruce had gotten to this level, he would not let his hard work all lose. He did not want others to control his destiny. Even the supreme god in this universe. Therefore, after completing these plots, Bruce's goal was beyond the OAA. Only beyond the OAA could he ignore everything. The reason why Bruce was eager for strength was that he did not want to be controlled by those people. What he had done was just letting him live better. After all, in this Marvel world, there were a variety of disasters happening at any time. And OAA certainly knew about these disasters, but he just did not stop them. It could be said that the supreme representative of the Marvel world was promoting the occurrence of these disasters. Otherwise, why didn't he stop Thanos from killing half of the universe's life? Didn't he have the power to stop? Number. He had this power to stop it, but he didn't. If making a further guess, it could be said that everyone was only the OAA's chess pieces. But Bruce did not want to be such a chess piece. Now he did not fear Thanos anymore. But there would be more serious crises in the future, and he still needed to alarm himself at any time and anywhere. Chapter 177, Return. Bruce was used to preparing things in advance. Before, he was able to use his ability to predict the plot, and was ahead of everyone. But after the plot of the Avengers Alliance 3, it was not possible for Bruce to do so. The most important thing for him was to improve his strength. And be careful about everything. Bruce already had his own thoughts on this point. Thinking of this, Bruce took a deep breath. He still had a lot of things to do in the future. At this moment, the voice of the system appeared in his mind. Beep, please host Kill Vulture in 1 month. New task. After Bruce heard the voice of the system, a hint of excitement appeared on his face. Because he was worried about how to get a large amount of energy before if he had no new task, but now the task has been released. Kill the vulture. He knew that this was the villain in the Parker plot. But this villain was very weak and could not attract the attention of the Avengers. Therefore, Vulture's biggest opponent was Parker. More importantly, this task was very easy for Bruce, so maybe he would not get too much energy value. But Bruce understood this point, because he knew that the harder the task was, the more energy value he could get. But even so, it was still the energy value. And what Bruce most needed now was energy value. More importantly, he was going to find Parker, so he could finish the task by the way. This was very good. Thinking of this, Bruce already had a general plan. He had a lot of things to do in the future and most of them were about dealing with the appearance of Thanos. It was just that Bruce was not sure where he would deal with Thanos, in the Earth or in the universe. In the plot of Avengers Alliance 3, the battlefield was mainly divided into two parts, one was on Earth and the other was in the universe. But in fact, Bruce liked the Earth more. Because Thanos' army was basically on Earth. And it might be a disaster for others, but for Bruce, this was a great amount of energy value. Therefore, Bruce had his own decision for this. Anyway, he could not let Thanos gather all 6 Infinity Gems. Otherwise, others could not stop him. Then, Bruce looked at the sky. It was already dawn, and he had used one night to upgrade and complete abilities. He slowly stood up, and now it was time to set off. Bruce did not bid farewell to Doctor Strange and the others because he would still be back soon. He knew that Odin would be found by the Masters of Camartage. Because Doctor Strange was already Sorcerer Supreme, he was able to know who would come to Earth for the first time. This was the ability of Sorcerer Supreme. Thinking of this, Bruce held a sling ring and opened a passageway to New York. He would not be limited by the geographical limits, and as long as he had enough energy, he could go to any place. When he left, Doctor Strange also noticed. Doctor Strange now had supreme magic and could sense a lot of things, it was just that he was not proficient. Mr. Bruce has gone. At the moment, Doctor Strange looked at Wong next to him and said with a hint of disappointment. Then Wong slightly nodded. The reason why Camartage did not have any disasters after Ancient One died was because Bruce was guarding here. Because his strength was so strong, even if he did not belong to the magic world. But as long as he had a powerful force, no one dared to disobey him. He has many things to do. Now you are the Sorcerer Supreme and you have to shoulder the responsibility of guarding the real world. This is just the beginning. So you have to adapt. At the moment, Wang said that. He was a disciple of the Ancient One. Except that he did not have a high talent, his other aspects were very good. And he did not have too much reaction to the thing that Ancient One absorbed power from the dark dimension, because he believed that she had this ability to withstand the erosion of the dark forces. After all, the Ancient One did it, didn't she? I know. I'll do it well. At the moment, Doctor Strange said this. He was already ready. Although Bruce was not here, he would definitely do better. New York, Queens. Bruce appeared in a deserted street. He still didn't know where the Parker was and was not clear which step plot of the Parker was. All of these were indeed a headache. But he knew that it was not the time for the decisive battle yet from the task's hint. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about it. He then left directly. This time, his goal was to go to the Avengers base. But when he came to the Avengers base, the surrounding streets were very desolate. No longer as lively as before, but the S.H.I.E.L.D. still guarded the security work in the Avengers base. Bruce had a variety of special abilities, so the guards were certainly not able to stop him. But when he entered, he did not see many superheroes. Mr. Bruce, are you back? At this moment, a voice appeared in his ears. Bruce turned his head, and it was the Vision. When he saw Bruce coming, he was excited, but he hid it quickly. Then Bruce nodded. He knew that after the break of Iron Man and Hulk, the entire Avengers Alliance was already a dead group. Everything is in your plan. Now Wanda and Pietro have gone with the captain. At the moment, Vision said this. His voice was very small, only two people could hear it. In Bruce's previous arrangement, Bruce let Vision and the others choose their own camp. Although the two sides fought with each other, they did not affect his plan. I see. At the moment, Bruce said this. He had left for a long time and it seemed that everything had changed greatly. Wanda misses you very much, Mr. Bruce. At the moment, Vision said this. He knew clearly Wanda liked Bruce. In Vision's eyes, Bruce was his master, and Wanda had a close relationship with Bruce. Therefore, he would not step out from his safe line. Wanda was Bruce's woman, and what Vision needed to do was to obey any of them. How many Avengers are at the base now? At the moment, Bruce and Vision went into the Avengers base. He wanted to know how many people there were here. As for Captain America, he was very clear about how many men he had. And there was basically no problem with Wakanda's protection. Mr. Stark, Mr. Roddy, there are not too many people. At the moment, Vision replied. It could be said that Avengers had been completely broken. And most of them stood on the side of Captain America. Then Bruce nodded slightly after hearing those words. He had long known all of it. Bruce? At this moment, Iron Man's voice came out. He looked at Bruce in shock. Chapter 178 Warning. There were so many things happening recently, even Iron Man did not react. When he looked at Bruce in front of him again, a hint of excitement appeared on his face. His best friends left him, and now there were only a few people at the Avengers base. At the same time when Iron Man opened his mouth, Bruce also found him. Whereafter, Iron Man did not hesitate and walked to Bruce and lifted his palm. It's so good to see you at this moment. Iron Man was deeply impressed by Bruce's appearance. Although Bruce had never acknowledged that he was a member of the Avengers, Iron Man had been exhausted after so many things. Bruce was a friend who fought side by side with them. Therefore, when Iron Man saw him again, he felt a lot of thoughts in his mind. I have already known all this. After shaking hands with the Iron Man, Bruce said directly. Iron Man nodded, and he had already understood that when Vision met with Bruce, coupled with the impact of this matter, Bruce must know. They abandoned us. I don't know whether it's right or wrong. At the moment, Iron Man said that because of the Sokovia Bill, all the Avengers were broken. Until now, Iron Man dared not pick up the phone and asked where they were. Of course, this was because the two sides had different ideas and they did not understand each other. After hearing Iron Man's words, a smile appeared on his face, but the Avenger is still Avenger, isn't it? After hearing these words, Iron Man sighed deeply. He did not know if all of this was caused by him. As for whether Bruce would obey Sokovia Bill, he did not pay attention. More importantly, Bruce was not a member of the Avengers, so he was not qualified to ask Bruce about it. And he did not want to lose a friend anymore. Well, let's talk about it. Where have you been lately? We can't find you all the time. At the moment, Iron Man said. Although Bruce was not an Avenger, his status was very high in everyone's heart. If Bruce was here at that time, maybe things would not have turned into such a situation. Of course, Bruce knew what Iron Man meant. If he was there, they might not break. But Iron Man didn't know what Bruce's attitude towards the Sokovia Bill was. And in fact, Bruce agreed with Captain America more. Each superhero had his own character, and if they were bound by others blindly, only making them become chess of some authority. But he could not say that Iron Man was wrong. After all, he had gone through a lot of things. Before he became Iron Man, he was just a playboy and never thought of things would become like this. He should not bear these things. Therefore, there was no right or wrong. It was just that the angle was different. I have gone to a mysterious magic world and withstand a catastrophe for the Earth. At the moment, Bruce smiled. And Iron Man was stunned after hearing Bruce's words. Although Bruce said this like he was joking, he guessed that it was very likely that Bruce really had done this thing. But since Bruce did not continue saying this, Iron Man would certainly not ask. What should you do then? At the moment, Iron Man looked at Bruce and wanted to know what he was going to do next. Now the Avengers base was already a real death group. But if Bruce was joining them, they would be very relaxed when dealing with a variety of disasters. More importantly, he knew that Bruce was free, so Bruce could make his own decision. We've gone through the New York War, the Sokovia War, and we are comrades. I know these, so I came back. Although there are a lot of crises in the world today, the real crisis is still not coming. At the moment, what Bruce said meant that he was already reminding Iron Man. And the next was the plot of the Avengers Alliance 3. Therefore, he must let everyone be ready. The real crisis? After hearing Bruce's words, Iron Man frowned slightly. He knew that Bruce had never spoken fake words. As long as it was what he had said, then almost all would be achieved. Yes, it's an unprecedented strong opponent. Bruce's tone was so solemn that Iron Man was shocked. Then they came to an office in the Avengers base, where only the Avenger could enter, and others could not. What the hell is going on? At the moment, Iron Man was very shocked. Because in his eyes, Bruce had always been calm and had never been so solemn. Even Bruce had such a strong response, it was absolutely impossible for them to predict. At least, the present Avengers were unable to resist. Do you remember when Thor left, he said that there was a mastermind who had always been searching for 6 infinite gems? At the moment, Bruce prepared to remind everyone in advance and let them get ready. Because it would be very difficult for him to threaten Thanos only by his power. Therefore, he wanted to convene all the Avengers to deal with this powerful enemy. Anyway, he needed to be prepared in advance. I know, but I don't know what the 6 infinity gems represent. At the moment, Iron Man replied, and he had already predicted how terrible Bruce had said. Whereafter, Bruce told him some information about 6 infinite gems. After all, Iron Man was a human, and the only ancient human or the people who lived in the universe. People know the things about the 6 infinity gems. In order to make Iron Man be prepared in advance, he said, Tesseract, Loki's scepter are all infinity gems. When Iron Man heard all this, he was shocked. He had come into contact with the Tesseract and Loki's scepter before, so he was well aware of the horror of the two things. These two things had strong terrible power. And in the universe, there were 6 infinite gems. What kind of disaster would it cause after they were all collected? Even Iron Man had never seen it, but he knew how important it was. Is it true about what you have said? At the moment, Iron Man was so shocked that he looked at the mind gems on Vision's head, which originally belonged to Loki's scepter, and it was also the source of Vision's life now. He knew that the news that Bruce had brought here was probably the biggest disaster they had to deal with. I need you to prepare and unite all of the people as much as possible. The greatest catastrophe of the Earth may come. As a leader of the Avengers, I hope you understand it. At the moment, Bruce said again. This time, he was going to completely face Thanos. Chapter 179, Preparation. Iron Man could be said to be the sole figure of the entire Avengers. He was only a common person, there was no special gene, and it was also impossible for him to live for more than 1,000 years like Thor. More importantly, he was just a young man, but there was a leader's temperament in his body, which made him lead those superheroes. Therefore, from this point, he was very special. And it could be said that the reason why the Avengers were able to assemble was all to rely on Captain America and Iron Man. So the two people must be united if they want to fight against Thanos. As long as the two people were united, they would be able to burst into an amazing combat force when fighting the Thanos. Therefore, Bruce had been prepared in advance before he came to the Avengers base this time. And it was like what he said to Iron Man: if they wanted to defeat Thanos, they had to unite all the power as much as they could. On this point, Bruce had his own preparation. Iron Man also knew the seriousness of the matter. At the moment, his eyes were very solemn. Because he knew that Bruce would not be joking, and suddenly there was something like this happening. He was indeed careful. But he was a little hesitant, because the current Avengers had been broken, it was difficult to deal with such a powerful enemy. And Iron Man understood these. So he looked at Bruce in front of him and said directly, even if I want to unite them, I do not have this power, they have lost confidence in me. This was his true words, and he had predicted this point when he broke up with Captain America before. Neither Hawkeye nor Black Widow seemed that they all did not support him. The first 6 Avengers had gone and there was only him left now. Therefore, even if the present Iron Man wanted to convene those people, it would be very difficult. Because he knew that the moment he signed the Sokovia Bill, he was doomed to lose some people's trust. Although Captain America told him by sending a message at last, saying that they would still fight side by side after a lot of things. But he knew that he was unable to cross the barrier in his heart now. After hearing Iron Man's words, Bruce had a smile on his face. Then he patted Iron Man's shoulder and said directly, "I will help you on this matter." At the moment, Iron Man, who was originally distressed, appeared with a hint of shock when he heard Bruce's words. He knew that Bruce was his comrade in arms. But because of the Sokovia Bill, he had lost too much. Therefore, even Bruce's trust would make him feel a bit of a luxury. It was already very good that Bruce still came to find him. But now, Bruce actually said that he wanted to help himself. "Bruce, do you believe me?" At the moment Iron Man was a little shocked, because the trust was very important to him. It was because in many cases he had been suspicious of himself. He thought the Avengers, who were so powerful and made the entire world's enemies scared, had been destroyed by him. Although the Avengers base was still there were no more people now. The old ones, and those who had trusted him before, all left him at this time. Because of these, he certainly doubted himself. But at this time, Bruce said that he would help him. This undoubtedly provided timely help. Because it was very important for a person who had been disappointed. "Of course. I understand what you have done is not for yourself. Therefore, I will help you this time. Because the enemy we face this time is too powerful. If we don't unite, we can't deal with it." At the moment, Bruce said, showing a trace of strangeness in his eyes. In fact, perhaps this was the last war that Bruce fought side by side with the Avengers after the War of Wakanda. After that, they would face a variety of enemies, but they would need a long time to assemble the Avenger again. And Bruce even doubted that once he successfully blocked Thanos. At that time, the whole universe would definitely fall into a strange state. That was the convergence of multi-universe. More importantly, he had seen the name of Apocalypse in Kamartaj. Therefore, it would not be far away from the war in the future. Bruce knew that he had to prepare for everything well. "Well, Bruce, I'll listen to you this time. I'll be ready for everything." At this moment, Iron Man regained his confidence once more, because he knew that Bruce would not joke. If even Bruce couldn't deal with the enemy, then it was basically that it was a powerful enemy which made everyone feel terror. Perhaps the war would be more terrifying than the war in New York, even the war of Sokovia. It was the enemy that they never faced. Therefore, they have to be prepared. "Well, Tony, have you found a high school student called Peter Parker?" At the moment, Bruce looked at Iron Man and said. After hearing Bruce's words, Iron Man was a little surprised, but he did not doubt it. Because during a mission of the S.H.I.E.L.D., Bruce was an agent who was assigned to protect Peter Parker. Therefore, it was normal that the two knew each other. "Right. But it seems that the little guy is out of your expectations." Then Iron Man directly ordered Artificial Intelligence Friday to open the holography. In the hologram projection, there were basically the messages about Parker. He had already known that Peter Parker had become a Spider-Man. After hearing this sentence, Bruce smiled, and he looked at Iron Man like that. "You? Do you all know that?" Looking at Bruce's eyes, Iron Man immediately knew Bruce's meaning. Maybe Bruce had already known this thing long ago. Although Bruce was only a third-level agent of the S.H.I.E.L.D. at that time, but in the eyes of Iron Man, Bruce was a mysterious man. And he did not have any doubts on this point. "Tony, he is also a man who can fight side by side with us." At that moment, Bruce solemnly looked at Iron Man in front of him and said. It was also his plan to unite all the forces as much as they could. But Bruce, he is still a child. Will it be too early to let him participate in the war? After hearing Bruce's words, Iron Man was surprised. In his eyes, Parker was just a child, and learning was his most important thing. At this moment, Bruce looked at the Iron Man and shook his head. You don't understand. He's more powerful than you think, and also stronger than you think. Then Bruce said this, and he knew that Iron Man gave more attention to Parker. Unfortunately, Parker had become his man now. This marks the end of part 27 of the story Marvel Unlimited Skills, I Can Download. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.